I have been waiting to actually read this article until I was here with you guys because I thought that would be fun, right? Just throw me into the fire like that. Why not? I'm a professional. All right. So Cargill's been around forever. They are in Minnesota. Let's see if it says here where. Minnetonka, Minnesota. They are one of the very, very few and last family-owned, non-publicly traded companies in food, in all business. I think there's not many of them left. They've had a very checkered past, very controversial past, and Cargill. We could do a whole deep dive for like 2 hours on Cargill alone. But I keep holding out hope for them because every time I see something positive in the news about them, that they've done something with sustainability or innovation or expansion or employees, I turn right around and there's always just another controversy or another bad story about them around the corner. And that is exactly what happened this morning. So I just want to give a smattering of what they're normally in the media for, right? And wouldn't you know it, I just went and did my own search, and the first thing that came up was this. Hold on. Cargill complained about a state employee's unprofessional tone. He was fired. This is the kind of mafia stuff that Cargill pulls. Okay, so I haven't read this yet either, and I'm dying to know. And this was released 2 days ago. Okay, the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency fired an employee who publicly questioned the company's practices. Oh, you can fire me, Cargill? It's fine. I don't work for you anyway. Okay. Minnesota Pollution Control Agency fired an employee who publicly questioned the company's practices. Well, it is Minnesota. And Cargill owns Minnesota. I wonder what Tim Walsh thinks of Cargill. Anyway, environmentalists have long feared that Minnesota state regulators have been captured by local industry heavyweights, allowing big companies like Cargill and 3M, not much better, 3M is actually worse, to shape environmental policy in their own interests instead of the public's. What? No, that never happens. Never happens that big companies will pay off some lobbyists or grease the palms of farmers or lawmakers, legislators, to just slide right through, right? Whatever it is, the loophole, find it, right? Here's money, find my loophole. But no one would accuse Derek Pennington, a conservation scientist hired by the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency last year, of being captured by industry and by Cargill in particular. Plot thickens. Pennington is active on social media, especially LinkedIn, where he shares his original hand-drawn editorial cartoons with captions critiquing the country's biggest food and agricultural companies. What is your username? I am going to friend you right after this. And ineffective attempts by regulators to rein in pollution. Agreed. He's developing a following of nearly 7,500. My man, good job. And companies' marketing posts offer a ripe opportunity to question their sustainable claims. Yeah, of course. So he's drawing cartoons about big food, big corp, big Wall Street, all this, DC. It's all food for fodder. From the perspective of Cargill, however, such thin skin for such a rich company. Pennington's assertive posture with the Minnesota-based food industry giant, including direct messages to a Cargill employee, was unprofessional when they alerted the MPCEA, the agency said. The case underscores the complexity of free speech issues for government agencies, said David Larson, a professor at Mitchell Hamline School of Law. Unlike private employers, public employers like MPCA are governed by the First Amendment. But the state can still fire employees when managers believe the employee's speech interferes with the agency's interest in maintaining an efficient and effective workplace. I mean, I don't know about Minnesota, but most states are fire. Well, we do have protections, but it's not that hard to get around them. Before he was onboarded to the agency, Pennington told the hiring supervisor that he was an unpaid cartoonist and essayist on the side and asked if he would be able to continue his activities outside while working for the MPCA. It's been a way for me to engage both my right and left brain when communicating my science, to publicly critique the many private and public. Okay, all right. Of course, manager checked in with human resources, confirmed that he would be allowed to continue, that there was no conflict of interest, no financial, right? Ensuring that every Minnesotan had clean air, sustainable lands, clean water was his mission. In August, Pennington messaged a Cargill staffer on LinkedIn and asked some technical questions about the company's oil seeds, like cottonseed oil, soybean oil, soy lecithin. I could go on. Investments, and criticize its sustainability work. Well, it's your opinion. You're entitled to it. The employee responded, offering a couple times to talk on the phone rather than via direct message. Well, duh. I mean, that's where you went wrong, buddy. Call me skeptical given my experience with Cargill's sustainability team, Pennington wrote at one point. Oh, click the photo for the phone. I love this. This is better than like the hex says. Divulging, whatever, it doesn't matter. Can I click it? Oh, it's not gonna really work. I will. Okay. Well, all right. Okay. We'll see what that looks like a little bit later. Or I'll take a screenshot and post it somewhere for you. Those messages made their way to Cargill higher-ups. And in August, Cargill Government Relations Director Gary Kay emailed the head of the MPCA's climate division. So Gary Kay is like the tattletale in this scenario. Kay wrote to the MPCA, "Our concerns lie with the accusations of greenwashing and just the unprofessional nature of Mr. Pennington's tone. Asking for future planned investments, market insights, and what we're paying our producers, in our opinion, is wildly outside the scope of a state regulator." I mean, they're not entirely wrong. I mean, I don't know if he was trying to get some dirt or maybe make some investments. Who knows? Pennington said his direct message to the Cargill employee were of personal interest and unrelated to the agency. Please allow me a quick introduction. Sorry to have made our concerns lie with the accusations of greenwashing. Okay, so that's the letter. You guys, I'll put the link to this in the chat if you care. I do. One of Pennington's supervisors sent him a memo stating that by listing the MPCA as his employer on LinkedIn, Pennington had given the impression that he was speaking on behalf of the agency. You guys, this is not entirely untrue. You have to be careful if you're moonlighting or if you're on social media and you are employed by a rather large company. Guys, you guys know, if you don't, I used to work at Nestle, and everybody also knows that I don't have a lot of bad things to say because my experience with Nestle was not bad, right? But it was made very clear, like, hey, we take care of the social media. When it comes to like your friends and your family, yeah, go. But pretty much don't wear your Nestle coat on your private social media, please. And don't post anything about your job on your private social media, please. I'm paraphrasing, but it makes perfect sense. I mean, they can't have their employees going out there wearing their uniforms or talking about their food or posting about the company when it's not sort of regulated PR or marketing. It all has to go through the correct and proper channels. So I get it. Hold on. Pennington removed the MPCA from his LinkedIn and continued posting his cartoons. He said he believed his posts were protected by speech, wasn't disclosing any information by removing the MPCA. Okay. Then in November, Pennington commented on one of Cargill's LinkedIn posts promoting the company's carbon market program, Regen Connect. I wonder if he's going to say the same thing I'm thinking, which is that I was so excited to hear that Nestle and Cargill were teaming up for this regenerative farming project, and then there was a third company called Regen Connect that was supposed to sort of do some oversight to make sure that everything was going okay. And then when I looked into Regen Connect, it was owned by Cargill. I was like, of course it is. Of course you own the company that's doing your own oversight. Okay, great. Cargill, what percent does this 1 million acres represent relative to your total U.S. farm acres? Okay, so it's not the same thing. Iowa alone has over 28 million acres planted in corn and soy a year. So he wanted to know how much were they investing in actual regenerative farming practices, or was it just a sliver of all the land that they own? Pennington says the message and the comment Cargill complained about weren't related to his work and couldn't have been because MPCA doesn't regulate those issues. True. Kay then emailed the MPCA chief of staff. As I mentioned the first time, we view posts on this website from government employees as distinct from private citizens. Additionally, we take issue with the tone. And the facts he puts forward. Okay. 5 days after the second complaint, Pennington was fired. Just days before he reached his 6-month anniversary. Well, that's not very long. Yeah. It tracks, though. I mean, it does. It tracks. I hate to say it, but that's a very, very, very fine line to walk. I can't believe I'm saying it. But when you work for government agencies or when you work for big corporations, there's just protocol you have to follow. And that just means shutting the hell up, basically, minding your P's and Q's, making sure you're just not saying anything out of turn. Fortunately, he learned it the hard way. I still think it's kind of his free speech, but I would have liked to have seen that maybe they had written him up or, put it in writing that maybe he was kind of on a warning, and that the next infraction could be a fireable offense. We'll see, though. Okay, so, all right, that's one thing. I still think Cargill did not have to make a big issue out of it, but they knew that they could, so they did.